Britain didn't just survive World War II. They rolled through it with some of the most iconic and bizarre tanks ever built. From tiny speedsters to massive steel monsters, this is the complete story of every British tank that fought in the Second World War. Starting with the light tank Mk6 series. This was Britain's most common light tank when war broke out. Paper-thin armor, a tiny gun, but surprisingly zippy. It was designed for colonial policing, not fighting German panzers. Light tank Mk7 Tetrarch, an adorable lightweight that could actually be carried in a glider. The British dropped these from the sky on D-Day. Brave cruise, terrifying landing. Light tank Mk8, Harry Hopkins. Named after FDR's advisor, this improved Tetrarch arrived too late to really matter. Faster and better armed. But the war had already moved past light tanks, cruiser tanks, now the cruiser Mk1. Britain's first serious cruiser tank. Decent speed, weak armor. It was supposed to charge around the battlefield like cavalry, but German guns had other ideas. Cruiser Mk2. Basically the same tank with slightly thicker armor, still not thick enough. British tankers quickly learned that speed doesn't stop bullets. Cruiser Mk3. This odd design featured a massive boxy shape trying to cram in more armor. It looked like a garden shed on tracks and wasn't much tougher. Cruiser Mk4. Finally, a small improvement. Better armor layout, but still fundamentally outgunned by German tanks in North Africa, where it saw most action. Covenanter. This tank was cursed from day one. Its engine overheated constantly, the cooling system was a disaster, and it never saw combat. Used only for training in Britain, Crusader series. Fast, reliable, and beloved by crews, despite weak armor. This became the workhorse of North Africa. It could dance around German tanks, but struggled to punch through their armor. Cavalier. Another problematic cruiser that suffered from the same engine nightmares as the Covenanter. Most stayed home in Britain, training new crews for better tanks. Centaur. Originally designed as a cruiser, but by the time it arrived, the role had changed. Many were converted into close support vehicles with howitzers for D-Day. Cromwell series. Finally, a winner. Fast, powerful Rolls-Royce engine and a decent gun. The Cromwell became Britain's main cruiser tank for the invasion of Europe. Challenger. Take a Cromwell, stretch the hull, and bolt on a massive 17-pounder gun. This long-range sniper could finally hurt German heavy tanks from a distance. Comet. The ultimate evolution of British cruiser design. Powerful gun, good armor, excellent speed. It arrived late in 1944, but was arguably Britain's best tank of the war. Infantry tank switching gears to Matilda I. Britain's first infantry tank was basically a tin can with a machine gun. Thick armor for its size, but hopeless against anything serious. Matilda II. Now this was a proper tank, incredibly thick armor that German guns couldn't penetrate early in the war. Slow as molasses, but nearly invincible in France and North Africa. Valentine series. The surprise hero of British armor. Simple, reliable, and produced in massive numbers. It wasn't glamorous, but it showed up and did the job everywhere from deserts to Arctic convoys. Churchill series. This absolute unit looked like a moving brick, heavily armored, painfully slow, but could climb hills that would stop any other tank. It became legendary for reliability and protection. The Churchill spawned dozens of variants. Churchill Aver carried a massive mortar for demolition. Churchill Crocodile was a flamethrower nightmare. Churchill Ark literally turned itself into a bridge for other tanks to drive over. American Lend-Lease tanks. M3 Stuart, or Honey, as British crews lovingly called it. Fast, reliable, and perfect for reconnaissance. British tankers adored this. Little Speedster. M3 Grant Lee. The British desperately needed firepower in North Africa. This tall, awkward American tank had a powerful gun stuck in the hull. Not elegant, but it saved lives. M4 Sherman or Firefly, when the British stuffed their 17-pounder gun into it. The Sherman became the backbone of British armored divisions, reliable, fixable, and available in massive numbers. M24 Chaffee. This light tank arrived late but offered excellent firepower and mobility. British crews appreciated its smooth ride and punchy gun. M10 Wolverine. American tank destroyer that Britain used extensively. Open-topped, but that 3-inch gun could hurt German armor from range. Tank destroyers and specialists Archer. One of the weirdest designs ever. The gun pointed backwards. Crews drove forward, then reversed into position to fire. Confusing, but effective. Achilles. The British upgraded American M10s with their 17-pounder gun. Suddenly, a good tank destroyer became a great one. Tortoise. This wasn't a tank. It was a moving fortress. Absolutely massive, incredibly slow, armed with a 32-pounder gun. Only prototypes were built, arriving after the war ended. Specialized armor. Britain created an entire zoo of specialized vehicles called Hobart's Funnies, named after their creator, Major General Percy Hobart. Sherman Crab, a mine-clearing tank with a spinning chain flail out front. It beat the ground, exploding mines before the tank rolled over them. Duplex drive tanks. Shermans and Valentines fitted with inflatable canvas skirts so they could float and swim ashore on D-Day. Many sank, but the concept was brilliant. Centaur Dozer. Exactly what it sounds like. A tank with a bulldozer blade for clearing obstacles on invasion beaches. Sherman Firefly. Worth mentioning again. The only Allied tank that could reliably kill German Tigers and Panthers from the front. British ingenuity at its finest. British tanks weren't always the most powerful or the fastest. They broke down, caught fire, and struggled against superior German armor. But British tankers were resourceful, brave, and learned to use what they had effectively. From the tiny Tetrarch dropped by parachute to the massive Churchill grinding up Italian mountains, British armor evolved rapidly. They started the war with inadequate machines and ended it with tanks like the Comet that could stand toe-to-toe with anything. The real strength wasn't just the metal, it was the crews who fought in them, the engineers who kept improving them, and the factories that churned them out. British tanks helped win the war, not by being perfect, but by being there, when it mattered most. That's every major British tank that rolled, swam, or flew into World War II. Weird designs, brilliant innovations, and a whole lot of courage wrapped in steel.